What's going on? You got a
I was,
haircut.
yeah, I went to for them to pull my ears out, and I said, guys,
Look at you. You lowered your ears, man.
I said I want to look just like Alex or Crypto because he
You got to
said
get the
that.
gray, bro. It even looks
Oh
it looks like a fresh haircut even cuz it's still gray.
man, no kidding. I just had gray hairs out of my nose, man. I'm not liking that.
Oh man. My prime minister is quitting his job right now.
Tell me more. How is it going? What's happening? What's the feeling of Canada? How, man, I'm just freaking out. How's it? What's happening here?
Monsieur Trudeau,
So
vous
this
vouliez le
guy is
faire, ce combat contre Pierre
basically
Poilievre.
destroyed our country for the last I don't know, 9 years. And we've been wanting to get him out for the last 2 years, like trying to force him out, and he wouldn't quit. He like locked down communists, like locked down the bank accounts, froze bank accounts, everything. Like during COVID, everything. He's been horrible. He's created our massive debt. So their budget was 40 billion. They got in at 60 billion in debt. So like crazy, like just printing money. And the problem is that he's stepping down and then he's proroguing government. So it means like instead of just stepping down and having an election, he's stepping down, then a new leader will be elected, then they'll have an election. So he's delaying it like an asshole, really. He's like pushing it further and further, and really Canada just wants an election because right now the other government, the conservative government, Pierre Poilievre, who's top notch, we want him in, but they're not getting an election right away, and we've been asking for one for the last 2 years, and they're delaying it again and again. Like our election is supposed to happen in September, but we've been asking to have it early, but he's trying to delay it again. But at least he's quitting.
Man, hopefully we can have that in Mexico. But let me ask you a question. This has to do with 2030 agenda and how he has been, like very condescending with it.
Yeah, World Economic Forum, puppet, green energy, carbon tax. It's it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Like taxing cow farts and shit like that, man.
Yeah,
Like,
man.
bro, cow farts, bro. Like methane. It's not the farts. It's actually the burps. It's like fuck off, man. Like we have the most trees in the friggin' world. We have the most fresh water in the world.
Man,
It's
and
a crazy.
yeah, it absolutely is. And let me be clear here because we're gonna be posting this to YouTube. I am all about conserving the world for our kids, right? I mean, but
Yeah.
the way that we do it needs to also make sense. I mean, it needs to make sense. I mean, who's the greatest production of carbon? Who's greatest production of methane? Who's the greatest production? And then starting to see processes that can counteract it. Because here's the thing, yeah, biology, and this is not medical advice. This is nothing for research for you. All right, you do your own research. Short-term veganism, it's all right. Long-term veganism has shown concerning uh, human health factors. That's not me saying. Even vegan
Mm.
researchers now have been published paper about it, right? Limiting or taxing things that create food that is not vegan, which is meat, well then, what does that do? That restricts access to most of all for having meat, right? So I just think that there's a little bit more to it, and maybe we can do a show about it. I mean, my crazy theories and how I think, like out of just for fun, right? How what I think, the new order is it's playing out and why. But other than that, I mean, I think either there's something greater that we don't know about it, or or I mean, Agenda 2030, they're just idiots. I mean, I don't see any other thing.
Yeah.
Other than that, oh man, that's amazing. And I kept my trade. Talking about this here up here on the charts, I kept my trade from Friday. I took 50% out. I'm already have taken another 50% out, so 25 still within play from original trade. Look at that, beautiful.
Let's go.
Let's go.
All right, let's talk some trading, baby. Oh man, I think I'm new here. What are we learning? So Brandon, 92, welcome, man. Born in 92. I'm born in 90. So we typically go over the trading day, our outlook for Bitcoin. We cover a whole bunch of stuff every single day. This is obviously a little bit of a side note because we are a community, so we do like to discuss. Political things are important, right? If they weren't important, then why would the U.S. and Canadian dollar be dumping because this guy's resigning? Correct, right? So we can look at things like this. Look at how it's just the news alone of this guy quitting has made the Canadian dollar stronger just by him saying I'm done, right? So this is important news. Not only does it affect people's lives like mine, living in Canada, but look at how it affects the markets. It's not just about what we want here and what we have here, but literally it has literally affected the Canadian dollar, which is actually something I monitor all the time just to make sure that if I get paid in US dollars, well, I want to be maximizing my profits and converting my Canadian dollars to US dollars as high as possible here, right? So that's why I think some political things are important, and it's pretty significant for a guy who's been in power in a G7 country for 9 years to step down because of his government failing. It's an interesting story. Nonetheless, we are long, baby. So what happened this morning? What transpired? What did we see on the oscillators that really gave us an edge this morning? And I'm going to go through that with you guys as well. So we absolutely took this trade this morning. I am now out of the trade. Okay. And as you saw me share from before, this was the trade. Made a good old almost $700 on this trade on a half a position size trade. Okay. So for me, I'm typically looking to risk 300 to make 900 every morning. And I actually exceeded that because I only put on half a position this morning. So what happened this morning? How do we trade this? So for me, I am a short-term time trader. I will take swing trades, but I typically look to make most of my trades between this time frame every morning. This is my money place. Most volatility, most volume. So going through this, what did we have this morning? So one thing we need to always do when we're looking at this is top-down analysis, right? So when we're looking at Bitcoin, what do we see? Well, it's been up only. We called the spring. Okay, we called the spring here the other day, and for the continuation pattern to continue upwards. That was basically our call on Friday. OC, he FOMO'd in at the top, but it worked, right? It worked. It's funny. It did, bro. I said, wait for a retest of the previous highs, right? OC got long here, but OC is a swing trader, so he has a lot more wiggle room on his trades. He probably was looking at something like this versus me, who I'm very, very, very cheap. Okay, so he's probably laughing all the way to the bank, and as am I. Okay, so what we do understand here is that price moved up quite aggressively. So for me, I'm always watching where liquidity is. Okay, so you can use your tools here, and they will tell you where's liquidity, where's the order blocks. So liquidity down here, order blocks within here. If you zoom in a little bit more, you can see typically on an uptrend, you typically get liquidity which resides at the lows, as you can see here, And if we go a little bit on a higher term time frame, probably in here. Okay, so creating liquidity on the way up. There you go. Oh, not in here, but in here. So creating that liquidity. So this typically wants to be tapped. Okay, what happened this morning was a liquidity grab bullish divergence. Okay, so this was not an easy trade. That's why I only went in 0.5%. But obviously, it's a very lucrative trade. So what happened this morning? Let's take a look. So this is where we kind of start our day, was right here. and we came down to VWAP. And VWAP is on your Markets Dynamics Pro as well. It's something I use every single day for trading. So I'm very happy that they recently just added it. Volume weighted average price. Okay. Resets every day. So came down to VWAP, bounced off VWAP. And like everybody's bullish right now. Okay. So for me, there was no trade. We kind of pushed up this morning and I was like, you know what? This looks, it still looks kind of toppy in here. Can we come and sweep the lows? So initially I had an area down in here that I was interested in. Fair value gap on our price here. And looking for price to come and push into here, only to bounce. Okay. So I was favoring the long. I was looking for the long, but nonetheless, I wanted confirmation. So what confirmation did I get? So in VWAP, I have a VWAP strategy video on my channel if you do want to watch it. But whenever price pushes through aggressively, you look for continuation. So that's one of my trade setups that I do look for. However, what has happened here is, and this works very much on the way up, is that we mitigated this low here. So we swept the liquidity in the low here. So that's a sign of strength where you come, you sweep it, and then you bounce, right? Now, I got long after noticing we got bullish divergence in here. I believe it was on the 3-minute. Let's see if it populates. So there was bullish divergence in here, making a lower low and a higher high. And then the push up into VWAP and it stalled out. Okay. This was, for me, I treat this when it does this, and I think there's going to be a bounce, which I have signals of a bounce coming in throughout here. And the sweep of the low showing me strength, that this is like a beach ball under the VWAP. Okay. The beach ball has been pushed down under VWAP and then bang, it goes for an absolute euphoric pump. Okay. Euphoric big pump. So all I had to do is, instead of going full position size, which for me is like 0.3%, this was a little bit more. So I only went a half a position size in order to protect my risk management. Okay. So that was the first thought, is I have to be a little bit smaller on my size here in order to protect below this low. Otherwise I'd have to be up here. And that to me was a little bit too risky. So I got long here. Obviously we got above, we closed above, and we popped like more than I expected. Okay, so an amazing push here for Bitcoin, continuing to rally up. No trade now. So for me, a beautiful trade this morning. That's how I got into it. I always suggest, when there's a successful trade like this and I go through the thought process live, it's probably better for you to watch that segment during the live. So 9:30, go an hour and a half into my video. I start at 8, so go an hour and a half in, and you will see the thought process of this trade during the live stream, where I actually take the trade, and you will see, okay, I'm getting ready here. I'll say, oh, look, this is coming back. I want to see this hold. As long as we hold here, don't dip below here. There's still an option of this, right? I'm talking through it, and then we push up, and then we're gone, right? So for me, it was more of a B setup, I would say, this morning, where an A+ setup would have been a swing failure pattern down in here, and I would have put on full size. But nonetheless, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, took the trade, was right about direction, and as you can see, this thing absolutely blasted off to Valhalla. So now, what do we see for price action? Now, this is where it gets tricky. Okay, so when we look at this as a range, generally, I would like to hear OC's thoughts because he's a much higher term time trader. But for me, we're coming into a liquidity zone and a golden pocket of the entire range. Okay, so typically, if we are looking for a correction, this would be a rejection zone, right? So either we're coming back to make a higher low, or we are actually going to sweep down into the liquidity back in this area in here, and then we go. Okay, getting everybody a little bit too bullish, in my opinion, but we're going to have to wait and see what transpires for the rest of the week. This week, we do have a bunch of job information. I believe JOLTS is tomorrow, and then Friday we have unemployment. So it should be an interesting day where news affects price action, right? Where we can look to try to take advantage, or at least use that as a bias, okay? And what really gave me the bias this morning was the NASDAQ, okay? Look at the NASDAQ here. If we zoom in here, and I always check the NASDAQ as I'm trading, the NASDAQ at 9:20, so before market open, had started to rip. Look at Bitcoin. We go into the 5-minute. When did Bitcoin decide to rip? 9:35. It really ripped. Okay, right here 9:35. So you had almost a 10-minute warning on the Nasdaq that we were going to go up. Okay, you look at the Nasdaq, you get V-shaped recovery here, and you start ripping, like literally ripping at 9:25. Okay, this gave me the idea that hey, this is strong, man. We gapped up here. I was looking for the gap up and continuation on the S&P. That happened as well, right? I drew this out before this happened, and we were looking for that as well. The Nasdaq gave us kind of the confirmation of this continuation on Bitcoin, all of the stars aligning and pushing onwards and upwards. So a whole bunch of things that I use in order to trade with, but stacking the confluence, getting the direction right, and making lots of money. That's how we like to roll here. So what do you think about those long-term time frames, OC?
I love it, my friend. I mean, I think you're spot on. I think you're spot on what you're looking at. Oh, let me just change this out of here. And also, let me talk about my FOMOing at the top. Because, man, I do remember that was a Friday, right? Like, we're going to the moon, and then I just didn't wait. And in fact, I tell you guys, I did FOMO in, and that's why I went in with half of a position. A caveat for the new members, my wallet is big enough that half of a position I can still do up to 25 segments, which is 25% segments, which is 50 out of the main, taking profit 150 out of the main position, 50 of what I've left, and then last 50, right? Just so you know, because sometimes I've gathered a couple of questions like, you know what, my position is $100 or $50, right? If I take 50% out, I have 25, and if I take 50% out, I just got, it started to be small, right? As long as you can do it, and this is not financial advice, I would recommend doing again, this is not financial advice, because that will set you up for paying yourself, right? And the more you pay yourself, the better opportunity you get to walk out with profits, all right? That is just basic math, along with a strategy of holding or containing your losses. So let's go take a look at what I did here and how is it playing out. And absolutely, I did change my stop loss because it was very, very far back down. And then as I saw it moving up, well, then it was smart for me just to put my stop loss higher. Here is right here the candle what I decided to enter. This was my main entry. Breakout retest. I even called this out, but look at that. That was on the 2 a.m. of the morning of my time. Let me make that big for YouTube watchers, viewers. Here we go.
I don't know
Right
I don't know how you sit that long in a trade, bro. I have no. You must love molasses or something, bro.
Oh man, you know what? I just I don't care anymore. I mean, I don't care anymore, right? But I guess it's just a matter of working out that threshold, right? Of being able to hold it. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, right before I kind of grew on it, going to bed, not knowing or thinking that my stop loss could be hit, that was a freaking pain. But yeah, so it was a Friday. Also, a couple of things happened throughout Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I just didn't even had chance to look at it until it started ringing my bells. What was my bell ringing? Right here at 99,724, and then I moved my stop, my next taking profit. So, look at this. We had a breakout retest, beautiful entry at 2 a.m. I was not able to enter because I was asleep. And then moving and pushing through right in the morning, that was 10 a.m., right, basically 20 minutes before this time, right? I entered right here on the live with Alex. And what was my thought? Well, we are above the zero line.
FOMO.
Out. Yeah. I cannot deny it. Yes, yes. It was.
I was like, I'm gonna give you FOMO, but it was constructive FOMO.
Absolutely. But I mean, here's the thing, guys. Yes, it was a FOMO movement. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna shield myself out of that, right? But also, I also did enter because we were above the zero line right here. We were above the dynamic reactor, and also, well, then we were right here on this same candle. Look at that, already on the green. So my thought process was, you know what, we're gonna have this kind of movement here, and look at what had happened before. If I enter at the same point, I would have been entering here, and look at that very fast scalp, right? So what I did is just basically look at how this moved, aim for a little bit less of that movement, basically just calling out a little bit less in here, and then also aiming, there we go, that was my entry, and it was a little bit higher on what I set up. And then what I did is just turn on my support and resistances. There we go, and look at that trend line right there, this trend line, right? That's why I'd adjusted it based on that trend line and based on my next resistance that is right there. Let me hide everything up. There we go. You can see this line, so I adjusted it to it, and from that trend line to that resistance. So as you can see, I did had a little bit of thought process. Was it a FOMO? Yes. Why? Because I absolutely could be saying, you know what? If it worked for me, breakout retest, why wouldn't in this time breakout retest again? And actually, it freaking did. I mean, I could have had a beautiful entry, not only there, also look at that odd flip of the ribbon with through 7 bouncing out. There we go, as for a better entry. Nonetheless, it played out. My stop loss, if you watched that video, was right here, right down here, and I was something less than 1-to-1. That's why I put out only half up of a position right here, and my next half of a position was right here. Did it play out? No. So when it started moving upwards, what I do, I just move my stop either to entry or further up just to compensate for my risk-reward ratio, and then I can start taking some profits. TP number 1, taken. TP number 2, taken. And why is that? Look at where we have this, I call it range, but it's not actually a range, but you'll see this.
It's an order block, and it's you got lots of liquidity and stuff in that range there that you're talking about.
Yes, exactly.
And it's the previous highs as well of the range.
Yes,
of the big range.
So what I was seeing there, so I did, all right, if I can chart the top and also I can chart the bottom, there we go. I'm going to be aiming for the safest part, which is the center. There we go. That's my thought process. So TP 50% out, 50% out. That is not 100, just if you know. If you know, you know. If you don't understand that, ask me on the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer that. But 50 out, and then I'm out of my 50% outs. Why? Because this is half of a position. I will only be either taking it all out or just trailing it for whatever it just retraces back down to me. All right. Something important that I was also talking about in today's Piper Academy, it is look at the man, this moves. I don't know why, but whatever. Let me just redraw that for you guys. All right. I was also talking about, and Alex also mentioned this, that he was looking at this, that we were looking in this area right here and the next downward peaking here, that we were right here on LPS area right there, and we needed to see that big body candle to break out, above the range zone, above the ranging zone, and then going for a retest. Off we go. So are we going to be having that retest? I don't know, but I expect it. So I'm still expecting that retest. And if we have that retest, I either going to be adding to it as we do something like that, and also re-adding right here at this point, and then trailing the next. And I'm also going to be just adding, not a full position, another fourth of a position, a 25%. Why? Because my original entry was a half a position, a 50%. So I took 50 out, and then I'm putting it back in to then trail it all the way up, if that works out. And I might be even jumping in late. Why? Because at this point, if it reverses, I'm at the top of that order block, right? I could be, I'm almost looking at that order overbought already, and I could be facing a possible reversal. Am I going to be willing just to enter as I come back down? Well, then, entering at the way down is not that bad as long as you have enough of a stop loss or enough of a position allocation, which could be DCA, all right? But at this point, since I'm already on on profits, I will just wait to see the FOR flip off the ribbon to the upside, add support, all right? And then in my way up, that's when I'm gonna be adding. Not at the very bottom, but on my way up. Just after I have confirmed a movement. Do you want to see how that looks like? If I'm gonna be adding on this candle and then moving my stop as I have the next candle. And why am I showing this one here? Because we need to prepare for the worst case scenario. So what if the worst case scenario plays out in my addition? So if I add here, right here, I'm gonna be moving my stop to entry. And if I break down, I'm gonna be getting out at 0 lost. In fact, I'm gonna be getting out at profits, all right? But the actual point to be adding to it will be adding, let me show you a better one. Adding something like in this candle, right? Where it's not about the breakout, it's about the retest. And then on confirmation, after I have my flip of the ribbon break through the 0 line, that's when I start trailing the rest and then continuing with that movement. So that's what I got, Alex, on this one. Also, something important, guys, for the new members. You say, and you mentioned this, Alex, how would an important event in the world would affect us, right? I'm very interested in that, not because of the gossip and stuff, but also what is the reason behind it, right? Because if you follow the trace, I'm talking about your prime minister renouncing, right? If you follow the trace, you also guys will remember that a month ago, or less than a month ago, we were talking about uranium. Remember, I even asked you, Alex, if you guys recall this. What does Canada has the largest, other than beautiful people?
We got uranium, we got lithium, we got tons of shit, man, but we're just too stupid to mine it.
Well, you guys are
We
mining
got this
uranium.
thing called, we just grow weed, bro. That's it.
I love it. We grow white powder here. Don't worry. We are on the same page.
Yes, exactly.
Oh man. So I mean, we were talking about uranium, right? The largest allocation of uranium is on Canada. The largest mining operation of
Yeah.
uranium is in Canada, right? And what happened? Boom, shakalaka. Let's not just keep this one because I allocate them all together here, right? There we go. Remember, coming back up and then coming back down. This is going to be important because we have not yet concluded this analysis, but let's take a look at the next one here. Look at that. Beautiful. I mean, guys, man, I just kind of like eyeball this with my indicators, right? Like turn on, look at that beautiful support. And off we go. Look at that. Are we late to this movement? I don't think so. I think this is just getting started. We need to see what's going to be the next step and how politics start moving around Canada, right? And finally, uranium, look at that. Sweep off the lows. Known pattern here, taught by Alex O'Crypto, right? Sweep off the lows. Break off the trend line. What trend line? This trend line. There we go. And breakout. Very beautiful breakout. So what are we looking at this now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are on resistance. I would love to see breakout retest on the previous weekly high money flow POC and find a burst to be taking 31.29. This might change also how other part of the world develop. Why? Because what is it uranium used, right? So food for thought there, guys. Also, something important is look at money flow. So we're seeing any influx of volume, not on money flow rushing in. This could change. Nonetheless, there's a little bit of how we look at global events to start making money on our side, right? So that's why it's important. Look at news, follow the trace, be prepared, so on and so forth, right? So other than that, I'm also looking at Ethereum. Ethereum, I don't know. I have the feeling that we could be retracing, but man, I really want to push this or pass it over to you, Alex, because we've been talking about Ethereum having a lot of potential, right? But let me show you what I see here. I see a little bit of a pattern, smaller pattern being repetitive. So basically, this is called a fractal. So we have a bullish pennant in here, fake out to the downside, and then a little range upwards to break down. All right. Also, just want you guys to look at this line that I drew right down here, which is the base of the pennant, right? You'll see that in the base of the pennant, we have a little bit of a movement here. Ultimately, we went downwards, but that's not the point at right now. Look at that little bull flag. Let's go even to the 1 hour. Right here, look at that, almost identical bullish pattern. In this case, we did not have the fake out to the downside, but we ended up breaking. It's not about the breakout, it's about the retest, and we're making the same up range movement. What are my thoughts? Again, look at this line and also look at where I have my alert, 3,563, all right? This is telling me that this is the base of the bull flag, and I am expecting a bouncing zone in there, as we could be breaking down out of that range, going here, where I do also expect my dynamic reactor to be. I also expect a allocation of money right there. Look at that. We have a ton of support in here. Again, ton of support. Order block, that might be counteracting what I think, but still, we'll see how that plays out. So I could be waiting for a bouncing back down here, and then that will be my entry. Something opposing to it will be Bitcoin just rallying up like it's doing, and Ethereum breaking up. In this case, if we break up, going for the retest on this, come on, trend line here. Oh my God. Let's do this. All right. For that trend line, and then entry point, and
Spaghetti
then we go
everywhere.
Yes, there we go. Yeah, fair enough. That is spaghetti. All right, so those are my thoughts in here. We're breaking out. Let me just do it a little bit better here. And either we break out, retest, and off we go, or we fake out, break out, retest, and then I think off we go to the upside. That's what I got on Ethereum. But what are your thoughts?
Okay, Ethereum. For me right now, ETH is in the same spot Bitcoin is, but obviously weaker, right? So we want to see Ethereum break because altcoins, right? We want to see altcoins do well. Now, Ethereum's been weak AF, right? Looking at this, so we see that, Ethereum's coming up to this 3770 area, which is the golden pocket. We are above the dynamic reactor on the 3 hour. We are getting multiple counts of bearish divergence. We are hitting the golden pocket retracement level. Okay, so for me, I'm looking at two spots. I'm not looking to buy the top, obviously, but I'm looking for a retrace of previous highs and a retrace of previous lows. First and foremost, 3580 comes to mind, okay? But ideally, coming back to revisit in here, 3600 would be the best in my opinion. We want to see constructive price action, right? Right now, with what Bitcoin's done today, gone all the way up, I want to see a higher low. That is what I want to see. I don't want to see this continue to go up. That to me would be bearish, because that means what goes up must come down, right? That would create, maybe a Bart Simpson pattern up here, boop, right? Coming back down. And we don't want to see Bitcoin and Ethereum dump extremely. We want to see, a dump, maybe whatever this is, 4%, 5%, right? Coming down here. But if Bitcoin dumps, 10%, look what happened when Bitcoin dumped 10%. We did this last week. Altcoins dump about 4 times more, right? So you can expect 40% dump on your altcoins. Don't want to see that. We do have clear momentum here for Ethereum breaking out. We have some sort of megaphone pattern, if that's what you want to call it, right? This one here coming out like that. However, this to me looks bearish, right? Coming up into a golden pocket resistance zone. Probably going to stall out here. Build, I always say, think like the market maker. What is it doing on a Monday getting up here? Okay? You're trapping longs, building up long. OC FOMO at the top, long, right? What is the market maker doing here? If the market maker wants to send price down, you got your big fishy up here. Okay, this is your big whale, right? And he's like, nom 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 nom. He's just eating. He's hungry. He's eating all year long, building a big short, only to what? Come, he's above water and then right back into the down, right? So for me, understanding that, hey, this has been very much up only since Christmas. Okay, we put a line at Christmas, right? We go back to Christmas, December 24th, right? Consolidation breakout, right? Up only, right? Yeah, a little bit of construction in here, but not much. Okay, we look at Bitcoin, same thing. Okay, I'm looking to short right now. To be honest, I'm looking for a short. Right now, I just got my market structure confirmation to go short. Okay, 5-minute change of structure, right? Mitigating this low. I am looking for a swing failure pattern up, get everybody bullish right now. Okay, this is exactly how I trade. Looking for this thing to push up here, bearish divergence. I will short the living crap out of this because guess what? I want to trade with the market maker. I don't want to trade with retail here. All you FOMO in at the top people. This is what I'd be looking for if I was trading right now. I may not take this, but we just got bearish divergence confirmation. We are rolling over. We are coming for the liquidity. If we zoom out, we go to December 24th, right? Same deal. December 24th over here, right? We came down. We had that Santa Claus rally right at the end there, right here. Here's your Santa Claus rally, only to retrace and then be up only all the way here into golden pocket resistance zone. Looking for this thing to come back down, at least revisit these people, right? And that's a nice little dump, right? That's 8%. What would that do to your altcoins? Ask yourself this thing, right? So being a prepared trader, right? With Ethereum, with any of these things, this has been a very nice move, giving us some hopium. We look around the world at the things that we look to monitor dominance. Let's go to dominance. Dominance here on our 4-hour or whatever. We identified a downtrend. It has come back to retest previous lows, as we can see in here. Key resistance level. It's come back to revisit that. Could it continue down? Absolutely. However, it is starting to push back up. So do we see a rotation into alts, or do we see dominance continue to push up, right? We want to see dominance coming down and Bitcoin going up at the same time to see that lucrative, rotation of tokens. And then we go over to like a total 3, or total 3, we broke out, okay? Breakout retest, OC style. But look where we're coming into. Turbulence, right? Lots of resistance, lots of chop in here. So as a technical trader, revisiting previous lows, only to maybe come back down. If we're looking at like a trend line to come back down, maybe revisit these highs, this order block in here, only to continue. That would be great. But this retracement will wreck a lot of traders. Okay, so we need to be prepared. Okay, we need to be prepared. And that's just how I'm treating it for now. It's Monday, right? So for me, it's like, okay, we got jobs news tomorrow. Jolt's jobs openings. We got unemployment Friday. We are very much pushing up. Like when I did my top-down analysis, the higher term timeframes look strong. They all look strong. Look, we are pushing up above the 0 line, flip to green here on the daily. The 2-day getting out of the bottoms here, pushing back up. Okay, the 3-day, same thing. We got positive posturing to the upside, holding the 0 line. There's lots of things here that are suggesting, hey, there's a bit of strength here. Can we push back? Okay. But when we get into, a 4-hour or 12-hour, we're starting to get overextended up here, right? We go to our 4-hour, we're really overextended here, right? We're getting warnings of overbought already. We're clipping on the Mag 7, right? So if anything, we're looking for, hey, a little pushback, a little higher high, a nice bearish divergence, clipping, and short this thing back down to here, right? We need to be able to forecast with our tools, right? And then we use our other tools for key levels of liquidity. Where are we looking to aim, right? And when we get to these areas, how are we looking to use our oscillator for a potential long? And this one, I believe this one here will be the one that sends us, end of January, all that kind of stuff will send us to the moon. Right now, it's looking a little bit toppy, a nice push. this morning, but you got to be in this environment. You got to be taking your profits. You got to be paying yourselves. You have to be managing your risk because what goes up like this typically gets recovered. Okay, so that's my thoughts for the market, Ethereum. I think the biggest indicator this is going to be the Dixie. Okay, I was talking to my Discord too about this is a top 109.35. This was a key level for me way back when, way back in the history books when I was doing some technical analysis up over here. So I was looking for this to be hit, and I believe what will lead to the altcoin season, the big push is this dying, okay? Because the Dixie has been trading the same as Bitcoin. If we look at that, we look at this, has been trading the same. We want the dollar to die and Bitcoin to continue upwards. Risk on, okay? Risk on for the stock market. This has been rising along with the dollar, which is not normally, this is not normally what happens. What normally happens is that the Dixie is going down, people holding less dollars, and risk on assets going up. Okay, so it's an inverse correlation we want to see. We want to see the dollar die and we want to see the Bitcoin pump. Okay, and right now we have a parabolic uprise ever since that jobs reports all the way back in October. Okay, since that in October, we've had up only. For now, I'm looking for this to be broken, this uptrend to be broken, meaning closing below these lows here, losing this, and this is what I'll be looking for that bull run, that big push in altcoins. And that's how I'm treating it for now. And we'll see. Okay, that's kind of my outlook.
Oh man, talking about buying tops.
Did you go long again?
I mean, oh man, no, not just yet. I'm about to press buy though. But
Oh my fucking
even you
god.
were like, dude, OC, you gotta fucking stop buying tops.
It can act as a hedge too, right? Like you don't have to put a lot of money on it, but you can hedge your position. You can put whatever, a quarter position on a short right now and hedge your long.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, in fact, I was my alert just ring on link, and let me see if I can bring that up. So I was expecting a breakout retest. I already had that retest, and I see push through here. Bitcoin is retracing, so I mean, right here, and you'll see this. I mean, it's already drawn right here. Half of a position. I should be entering. This is basically the same exact setup that I was long in the top on Bitcoin, right? Played out for me. Why? Because I'm coming out from a flip of the ribbon. I do see volume matrix. I'm above the zero line. I'm above the dynamic reactor. And I could be pushing into a little bit of a sweep for the highs in here before trapping longs and then coming back down. Look at how thick my stop loss is at that point. All right. So let's do something here. Let's actually not do the same on that I did on Bitcoin, because to be honest, I would. This would have been my entry right now. Not right now as I hit it, but this line in here. But let's do exactly the same. Let's all just incorporate a little bit more. Let me just draw my spaghetti out or clean out my spaghetti. What I want to see is this liquidity right here. As you can see, that parabolic movement. It's a little bit off. There we go, like right there. And if I draw a trend line to the upside, you'll see that we're trying to push through it. So for me, that's an entry. But we could also be having a little bit of a pushback because we did here, and we did here, right? I mean, it is a resistance area. So let's not buy this time at resistance. Let's not get the top today, and let's wait for that retracement to play it out somewhere around this area. So what I'm gonna be doing is moving my stop or my secondary alert a little bit higher here, and I'm gonna be aiming for that next one. Let's just stop Alex to get a heart attack of my buying tops. Oh man, that was priceless, my friend. I really appreciate your concern for me buying tops. I really appreciate it. Oh man, but
Hey, one day it's not gonna work, bro.
yeah, I know. But that was a SBT, right? Stop buying tops. SBT. All right, so Let's SBT this. Let's wait for the retracement, and we'll see how that plays out. Nonetheless, as something that is following me in, that I'm not going to be doing this time, is look at my consolidation score, 10. All right, and I'm bullish here, which is telling me I'm highly consolidating. Yes, I know, right? I mean, a slight upwards consolidation. There we go. And not only that, I'm about to break that consolidation. So what does breaking consolidation means? It's going into a trending movement, right? And what is the most logical way to trend? I would say we have the momentum. We are bullish. We are above dynamic reactor. And I see money flow try to push up. So I would say rallying up. That doesn't mean, let me clear this up. That doesn't mean that it is up only. That means that we could rally up. And you see how is this rallying up? It's going down, grabbing liquidity, right? Maybe double bottom, and then breaking the structure here. There we go, and so on and so forth. So let's also just keep it as we intended to. I already have put up here my alert. I see a doji that's in decision candle almost at the toppy area. So let's just wait a little bit more and be patient this time. Just this time, Alex. I'm just kidding. But that's what I'm saying.
That's great. We'll be all right.
We'll be all right. Oh, I also want to go over a couple of AI. We're 5 minutes away. I know you have another session right now, right after this one. So let me just go really quick for other AI tokens, really quick, just to give you guys the heads up. Here I have SPX. We already have gone through it. I believe that, I want to see a retracement. I want to see this retracement, all right? It's not that it's going to happen. Right now, I'm aiming for a better movement to the upside, but I want to see that retracement because that will signify if we can bounce at this area, that we're not into a bubble, and then that breakout is going to perform much better. Tesla, we did analyze that bottom. Then the card thing happened, went all the way down to that confluence zone. Very nice. We're back at it. And if we hold dynamic reactor, this could be your opportunity of then jumping up. I want to see breakout of the zero line here. AIXBT performing amazingly. Remember that we talked about, in fact, I was expecting for dynamic reactor to get here. It did not, still bounce out that previous support where we had predictive ranges in that trend line. So played out perfectly, beautifully. Hopefully you did, guys, enter in that trade. Finally, I was expecting a sweep of the lows, but it ended up going higher. So let's just flip this down. And my next entry will be as we have, again, flip of the ribbon on a retracement. So just be patient on that one. We went through my support, my resistance here. Still, we are not out of the game. Ethereum, already talked about Ethereum. EOS. EOS, I think it has potential. I know it's a dead coin or somewhat dead coin, but look at this blow off top that we had. We already have coming through a long way, right? And we have a not only range V-shaped recovery, Wyckoff range, but also seems like we have reached the bottom. So keep an eye on EOS. I think it has a good surprise below it. You can see my alert right here. That alert is telling me that we're continuing, and I'm gonna be longing the alert, right? I'm gonna be longing one position at 3x, all right? Not too much. I'm gonna keep it as low as possible, and now I'm gonna be planning to reallocate another full position right here at 3x, just so you guys know, all right? Other than that, let's wrap it up. Alex, do you have anything else to show to alumni before we wrap this up, or would you like to say the goodbyes?
I will see you guys in the morning if you do come by, and no, it's always a good time. We're ready. I think this is coming down at least to 100 to retest 100,000 to flip it as support, right? So we'll see how it goes. But it's always a fun day, and it's Monday, so the party's just getting started. Okay, so have a wonderful day, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.
Guys, thank you so much for joining. And as always,